Welcome to Midcard Maniacs, I'm Jay, and today I'll be sharing my predictions for The Horror Show at Extreme Rules 2020. Yep. I kind of forgot to do this video, so I'm doing it really last minute. I'm going to try and make it pretty short and sweet. I'm not going to go into too much depth because a lot of the matches here are pretty cut and dry, but the whole idea of The Horror Show at Extreme Rules, it sounds hokey, but I'm really open to it because as a horror fan, there are cool things that can happen, especially with the cinematic match in the swamp. I'm looking forward to that, but let's get into the full card. We're starting with Apollo Crews versus MVP for the WWE United States Championship. This is a pretty straightforward match. Apollo Crews and MVP. You know, there's already this rivalry here, and MVP has a history of United States Championship runs, so it's kind of like just a built-in story. I don't expect too much to happen in this one. Sure, Apollo Crews could retain and it'd be fine, but I think why not give MVP another run? Because when he made his return, people didn't really know what was gonna happen. Even he had said hey, they keep paying me, I'll keep showing up and doing whatever they ask me to, basically. He's getting up there, you know? He's kind of old, so I don't know how much longer he has in ring. So give him another US run and that would be great. Next we've got the controversial Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus in a bar fight. I hate this storyline, and I think most people can agree that it is just a really weird thing for them to do, to prey on real life shit that Jeff has gone through and make it into a storyline. I really don't like when they do that. I mean, sometimes it can work, but when it comes to abuse issues, I think it's just bad form. I am not interested in this, but I think that Jeff Hardy will win kind of as a redemption, so to speak. I can see fun moments because they're gonna be at a bar. Sheamus was previously part of the bar, so I'll bet there's gonna be a one-liner or something. I don't know if this is gonna be a cinematic match. It could be. I don't think it necessarily needs to be, because there could be some cool moments, but it definitely has to be staged to some degree because I imagine people are gonna get hit with bottles or something, and those specifically need to be candy glass. I'm hoping for some pool sticks. That always happens in a good old bar fight, you know? I just want this feud to be completely over, and if Jeff wins, I don't think it can really go anywhere else. They can just drop the storyline and figure something else out and leave Jeff's past in the past. Next up, we have the most extreme match on the whole card, which is Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, an eye for an eye match, which has been confirmed over and over that the opponent has to rip out the other person's eye, which is kind of crazy for WWE to think that this is going to be something that people actually want to see, first of all, and considering that they've really tried to cater to a younger audience, and they've basically removed a lot of that really crazy violence that they would have done back in the day. To see an eye for an eye match is very strange. Of course, this initially seems like it was a jab at AEW because they had Santana and Moxley do an eye for an eye match, but there was nothing crazy there. It was just they had eye patches on. This one, they actually have to remove an eye, and the rumors going around is that we will actually see a CGI be removed from somebody's head. Whose head that is? I would bet that it's going to be Rey Mysterio's, because Seth Rollins is the heel in this case, and seeing Rey Mysterio rip somebody's eye out is not what a babyface would do. You know, people love him, the kids look up to him, and to have him do something so grotesque is very strange. I've also seen a few articles saying that Rey Mysterio hasn't officially signed a new contract, so this could be a good way to write him out of the company without saying they just fired him. It's just oh, he's taking time off to get, surgery or something to put in a glass eye, or whatever it may be, if they choose to have him back. Otherwise, I don't really know what would happen. I think Seth Rollins would look cool with an eye patch because people just look cool and more badass with eye patches, especially when it comes to villains. And if you would want to push Seth Rollins more into the heel side, give him an eye patch. But my choice is definitely Rollins taking this, and potentially this being the last match for Rey Mysterio in WWE, at least for a long time. Next, we've got Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's Championship. As much as I like Nikki Cross, she's not going to win. Bayley retains. There's no question in my mind. I'm sure it'll be a good match, but I don't think anything too crazy is going to happen. If something does, it's going to be Sasha coming out and maybe by accident costing Bayley the loss by DQ. but she's not going to lose the title to Nikki. And I think that's a stretch. I don't think that's happening. I think it's just going to be pretty clean cut. Bayley wins. Next up, we've got Asuka versus the boss, Sasha Banks, for the Raw Women's Championship. This one I have to give to Asuka. I think she retains. Well, Sasha, it would be cool. Like, I love her, but I don't think she needs to win the title right now. It would just take away from Asuka. Like, Asuka, she's really hot at the moment. So to take that momentum away from her, just to give it to Sasha, like, doesn't make any sense. Sure, we're gonna get Bayley versus Sasha sometime, potentially SummerSlam, but it doesn't need to be over the Raw Women's Championship. There's not a lot to say about it. I think Asuka's taking it pretty clean. Next up, we've got Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Championship. To me, this is pretty clear cut as well. Drew McIntyre retains. There's no way that Dolph is just going to take the championship. It doesn't make any sense. Even if he was going to win, I don't think it would be at Extreme Rules. I think it would be further down the line, especially with talks of them starting to get shows up and going, which I think is a terrible idea. I think they would wait for at least a bigger crowd, but I don't think it's Ziggler's time. As much as we all want it at heart, one day he will get the WWE Championship, but it's not this Sunday, that's for sure. And finally, we have the Wyatt Swamp Fight non-title match between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. For this match, I don't really know how it's going to go because cinematic matches, you never know. There's so many cool opportunities to do wild, over-the-top things, and I think we're gonna get a lot of cool shit, or at least I hope. I think Braun's gonna retain here, but I think it's still going to be one of the better matches of the night just because it's going to be so different. Like, the Boneyard match was so fun and I absolutely loved it. And while they haven't been able to capture that same magic, like when it came to Money in the Bank and stuff, but a swamp fight sounds interesting and I am really looking forward to it. Braun's obviously winning because he's going against Bray Wyatt, but I think it's because the Fiend will eventually beat Strowman, like, down the road at probably SummerSlam. But it will be nice to see Bray Wyatt try and get more into Braun Strowman's head and get a little bit more culty like we've seen in the past. I'm really excited for it. But as a whole, this card seems really predictable. Unless they do some, like, really out there moves that wouldn't make sense story-wise for some of the bigger pay-per-views coming up, I think that you can basically guess who's gonna win and nearly everybody retains, aside from MVP getting the US title. There are rumors that there could be like a Nakamura and Cesaro match with the New Day, which would be cool, and potentially a tables match. I think that would be great because I like everybody involved. I think that New Day would retain. I would bet that that is a pre-show match and will be announced tonight on SmackDown, which is starting in about an hour from when I'm recording this. Anyway, those are my predictions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'll have the card in the description as well, so you can copy and paste it, and just let me know who you think is going to win, and are you excited for the horror show at Extreme Rules? What do you think of a CGI being ripped out of somebody's eye socket on Sunday? Let me know. And if it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything Midcard Maniacs.